All right, guys. What's up, friends? What's up, folks? What's up, everybody? Welcome. Give you guys a couple seconds to hop on. Periscope got there first. They got about 30 seconds head start on all the rest of you guys. Instagram, Facebook, welcome. You guys are checking us out. We appreciate everybody. We appreciate everybody checking us out again for the third new installment, the Flip King CEO. Thanks for joining us. Thank you. Welcome again. Whatever platform you're checking us out on, make sure you subscribe so you can get alerts when we come on live, so we can bring you valuable content and we can bring you good stuff. So welcome, guys. Thank you again for joining us. Thank you for being here, and thank you for support and all the great feedback. Guys, once again, I want to remind you, if you're checking out the videos live, make sure you circle back to the iTunes store and make sure you check out the actual podcast, leave us a review, and then comment here later on with 5-star review. Leave us a 5-star review, leave us some real feedback on the iTunes podcast, and then comment below 5-star review, and we'll send you out some cool gifts. Amanda, did we send out that cool gift last week?
Yep, definitely.
100%, right? So we will send you out a cool gift, I promise you, if you leave us a great review, and then you circle back to us and put in the comments 5-star review. That's what you got to comment. So, guys, if you are leaving questions during the podcast, Amanda's going to be checking. She's going to be hopefully responding, reading them off to me, and I'll be able to give you guys responses as well. I've got a powerful podcast for you today. It's about expansion. It's about delegation. It's about scale. It's about building your business to the next level. So let's get it kicked off right now, right? All right, let's get in there. So here's the thing, guys. If you've gotten to the point where maybe you're pulling your hair out because you're by yourself and you feel yourself getting frustrated, or you're overwhelmed, you're working 200 hours a week and you're not getting anywhere, maybe you're making money, maybe you're doing okay, but you're stressed out, you don't have time for your family, you don't have time for your kids, you don't have time for your significant other, you don't have time to do the things you want to do, and you're doing well monetarily, maybe you're not doing so well monetarily, but the fact is that you're stressed out and you can't handle, right? You're grinding day to day. Maybe you have a couple people and you're still grinding day to day. I want to teach you a few tips and tricks today, whether you're watching live or you're listening to this recording later on, a few tips and tricks that are going to be able to help you elevate and delegate and get your business to the next level, get yourself to the next level, no matter what level you're at. And these tricks not only are going to help you personally, but these are the same exact tips and tricks that my team uses today and your team can use to help them go and hire and replace themselves, right? Around here we have a system that's called fire yourself, right? And what happens is people hear that and they say, I don't want to fire myself. What does that mean? Amanda, do I say fire myself a lot?
All the time.
Fire yourself, right? I want you to fire yourself. That doesn't mean I want you out the door. That doesn't mean I want you physically fired. It doesn't mean I want to fire you and have you go get another job. What it means is everyone here and everyone in your facility should be looking to find a way to replace themselves, right? It should be looking to add enough significant value that their position is no longer, it's obsolete for them, right? They've made themselves obsolete in their own position to the point where they need to elevate to a next level. They need to go to the next level. They need to grow to the next level and be bumped up. That's what it means to fire yourself, right? And in firing yourself, you need to replace yourself, right? How do you replace yourself? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today. So if you're a solopreneur and you're doing it by yourself right now, or maybe you're an entrepreneur with a small team and you want to grow that thing to the next level, or maybe you're a CEO like myself and you have multiple dozens of employees, but you still need to teach them how to grow because you're still in that juncture where you're helping them learn to grow and you're helping them learn to hire, or maybe you're still doing the hiring yourself physically and you want to find a way to teach them so that they can start doing it, because guess what? You don't want to do this forever, right, folks? If you're a CEO visionary, you should not be the HR anymore, right? You should not do HR if you're a CEO visionary, right? So let me help you teach your people to do the process for you. Well, it all starts with this. It all starts with the list, right? It all starts with figuring out what it is that we're trying to accomplish so we can replace ourselves, right? So I hope you already got a notepad and a pen and paper. If you don't, I'll give you a second. go out and get yourself something to write on. Get yourself a pen and a pad, and let's start with that. So the first thing we do is we write a list. Let's categorize a list of what we do every single week, right? I want you to look back in your schedule, look back in the past few weeks, look back in your notes, look back at your forward schedule, look back at all your meetings, and I want you to take a list of all the things you do. I don't care how menial they are. Maybe you're checking emails, maybe you're meeting with folks, maybe you're recruiting, maybe you're setting appointments, maybe you're making sales calls, maybe you're going on appointments, maybe you're closing things, maybe you're just making shit up, right? And a lot of people, especially solopreneurs and small business owners, a lot of times, unfortunately, even though they hate to admit this, are actually putting fires. They're setting fires. They're making fires so that they can find something to put out, right? Now, if that's you, unfortunately, it's inefficient, but it happens a lot. You got to stop doing that. That's a whole other podcast. We're not going to go there right now. But everything you do, you got to list everything you do. I don't care what it is, whether it's walking the dog, whether it's actually spending time on your business, whether it's reading books, whether it's bettering yourself, whether it's actually selling something, whether it's actually doing processing work, whether it's actually making calls to prospects, right? Everything you do, list it out, right? Start a list. So take that in quiet time. This takes 20 minutes, half an hour. Or if you have a journal, like I carry around, if you have a journal, you can actually start to journal it as the week goes by. Just start yourself a list. Every time you find yourself doing something, start yourself a list, right? And just list out all those things that you do in a given week. That's number one. Now, if you're listening to this recording later on, there's going to be a free download in the podcast. And if you're somebody who wants to get that free download, make sure you check out the podcast later on if you're watching this live, because you can go into iTunes and the download will be available at the end of this week and you can go get it. There's going to be a chart. It's a T-chart. I'm going to draw it for you right now, those of you that are watching a live video. The next piece is going to be to start a chart. Take a simple piece of paper, make a T-chart, okay? And then we're going to take that list that you guys designed, and we're going to break it into 4 categories, right? We're going to do a category of love, great, right? Then we're going to do like, good. Stop me if anybody's heard this before. We're going to do don't like, good, and then we're going to do don't like, not good. Now, I'm a little bit more crude than most. I call this the hate category, right? I don't even go straight to not good, don't like. I just say I hate this corner, right? Now, here's what we're going to do. We have this list, right? You might have 20, 40, however many items it is that you do in a given possible week, right? And you're going to start categorizing these things. You're going to say, I check my email too often. You're going to say, I prospect. I sell people. I go on appointments. You're going to say, I recruit. You're going to, right? Every one of those things, take that and itemize it and put it in a block, right? I love recruiting. I go up here, right? I love checking on projects, right? Goes in the love box, right? I have to do Excel spreadsheet P&Ls every Friday. Down here, don't like it. Don't like doing it, right? Whatever you do for your business, right? I mop the floors, right? I don't like it, but it's good, right? Whatever you have to do for your business, whatever you do in a given week, put it in one of these boxes, okay? Everything that you possibly have to do. Now, here's the challenge with this challenge, right? You have to be brutally honest with yourself, okay? You have to actually be honest with yourself. If you're not honest with yourself in this challenge, if you're not honest with where you need to be, and you start lying to yourself and you say, I love everything, I'm great at it, you will never get forward in your life. You will never grow in your business. You will never find a way to elevate and delegate. You will never find a way to scale your business, and you will never find a way to what's called let go of the vine, right? You'll never find a way to give away what you think is difficult to someone else to do. The challenge is it won't happen. Because if you think you're great at everything and you love to do everything and you lie to yourself about that, how are you ever going to find a way to give someone else that responsibility, right? The fact of the matter is there's a whole lot of things I don't like doing. In fact, I have a gigantic business now, and there's most of it I don't like doing, right? Listen, some of the things that I love doing, I still given away. My background is construction. I used to build things by hand. I used to be a carpenter. I used to frame houses. I used to do roofing. I used to do siding. I used to do drywall. I used to do carpentry, right? I actually love doing those pieces. But folks, there's no way we could flip the enormity of the houses that we flip, build new construction houses, have all of this stuff going on if I was physically hanging sheetrock. Give me a heart and thumbs up, press the button, the likes if you guys understand what I'm talking about, right? There's no way to scale a business if you don't give some of this stuff away. So the process here, the squares is just to determine what's the first thing we give away. Eventually you're going to give a lot of this stuff away. But this first exercise is to figure out what's the most important thing to give away. The most important thing to give away, and you probably already guessed it, is anything below this line. Okay? In fact, anything below this line is the job description of what needs to go first. Okay? So if down here you have Excel spreadsheets and P&Ls and processing work and analytical stuff, which by the way is the kind of stuff that I want to give away first, right? Because that's not the stuff I like doing. I'm quick, I think quick, I make decisions, I can't stand sitting at a desk. I don't like all the things I just mentioned to you, right? So they all go down here. And when I made my first hire, that's the person I hired. That's the person I went and looked for first, was the person that does all this stuff, because it's the stuff that I'm not good at. So take the stuff that you're not good at off of your plate first, get it out of your way first, because two things happen when that happens. Two things happen when you give away the things that you don't like and then you're not good at. Number one, you become incredibly more effective and more efficient. You become incredibly more efficient because the stuff that you're not good at is immediately off your plate. And number two, you become incredibly more happy. You become more happy because the stuff you're not good at and you don't like doing and you hate doing is being done for you. And what happens is you also find you become 10 times more effective. Because now the person that is doing this, and if you've hired them properly, possibly the way I'm about to show you, you're going to find that the people that the people that like doing this stuff have a flipped up diagram, right? You're going to hire based on these philosophies, and generally the people that like doing this stuff don't like doing this stuff, right? You're going to hire the opposite of you. You're going to hire the people that like doing the things you don't like. Does that make sense? So if you go and use this chart appropriately, you're basically making the job description of the opposite of your unique ability. So you're also finding what your unique ability is. Because we're designing our weekly schedule, we're laying it all out on the chart, and we're trying to actually figure out what we're best at, what we're great at, and what we're effective at doing by putting it on this chart. So this chart is a simple, very simple tool, but it's also eye-opening. So the fact is you can do it as the CEO, you can do it as the business owner, and you should do it quarterly, every 6 months, at least once a year, to determine what things you're actually doing in a given week and what things you can start to elevate and delegate. Now, your employees should also do it. Now, why is that? Because your employees are out there and they're doing things sometimes you don't even know that they're doing, right? They're actually working in systems and processes and practices that a lot of times when they start to grow and they start to elevate to the next level, sometimes they're doing things that you don't even know they're doing, right? You're asking for good feedback, and what's happening is the feedback they're giving you is this thing doesn't work, that thing doesn't work. Well, this is a great time to say, hey, lay out everything you do in a given week and plug it in on a chart. You start finding that they're doing things you didn't even know they were doing, first of all, But then they can delegate some things that don't even make sense. They might even be able to eliminate some things that they're not effective at, that they're not good at, and that they don't like doing. So it's almost an 80-20 principle as well, right? You might find that a good chunk of the things that they're not doing well is also the things that they don't like doing, maybe some of the things that they don't need to do anyway. So another good use for the chart is actually eliminating excess waste and double work, right? So really, really good pieces for this. Now, the delegate and the hire piece, right? Why do we hire and why do we grow and why do we take this piece to help us grow? Well, I touched on it a second ago and I'm going to review it again. When we write this board out and when we draw this chart out, the fact of the matter is the list that's made down here literally becomes our job description. So when you come up with this list and you find that the things that live down at the bottom of this chart end up becoming exactly the things that help you draw the job description. When I first did this, I actually said to myself, I don't like doing any of those things. Who possibly could want to do those things? Well, the fact of the matter is when you start to study disk analysis and Colby analysis and things like that, you're going to find that the things that you don't like to do, there are people that love to do those things. And that's the crazy part about the world, right? There are things that we find super boring or we find super fun that are completely opposite of what other people feel, right? So the things that you are going to pad down at this bottom of this chart are going to be super interesting to some sort of assistant possibly, or some sort of person that's going to take maybe that piece and start a different department with it, or they're going to start that piece and they're going to start a different team with it, or maybe you're going to find again that these pieces are not necessary to your given day and you can eliminate some of them altogether. So you can take them and you can multiply them and you can scale, or you can take them and you can eliminate them. Now, what are the benefits of growing and hiring and using this philosophy to get to that next level? The questions are, taking this piece and growing, benefits. One, if you don't fire yourself, you're never going to level up, right? You're going to stay stuck in the same zone that you're in today. And if the zone that you're in today, what's up, GB? If your zone that you're in today doesn't change, if the mindset that you're in today, guys, if you want to get to a different level, the thoughts, the actions, and the mindset that you're in today are what got you here, right? If you don't think at a different level and you don't take different actions than where you're at today, you're not going to get to a different level. So what you've hired, thanks for the thumbs up. What's up, DM? If the thoughts and actions that you're taking today are where you want to be, that's great. Keep taking the same old actions. Keep having the same old thoughts. Keep doing the same old things. But if you're not happy with where you are today, all I'm saying is consider taking some different actions. Potentially hire some different people. Potentially grow to a different level. Folks, you can't scale without growth. You can't multiply without hiring. You can't get to a different level without growing your team and putting different practices in place that you haven't done before, right? You're going to be stuck in the same position. You're going to buy time by growing your team, right? There's money and there's time. You can make plenty of money being solopreneur. You can make plenty of money being self-employed. That's why they call it a high-paying job. There's plenty of people that are out there, salespeople, realtors, all kinds of people that I know that make good money, right? Folks, it doesn't take a lot in this country to be in the top 5% and the top 1%, right? You don't have to make that much money to be wildly successful when it comes to income. But the fact of the matter is, if you want time wealth, you need people to take you out of the equation, right? You can't multiply yourself without taking yourself out of the equation. So the only way to do that is to grow the team so inevitably you can become a visionary, become the CEO, and take yourself out of the equation. Then when the time comes back to you, you can leverage the time piece, okay? True wealth comes from time freedom. The only way you're going to get time freedom is by growing the team. And that's what I'm here to help you do. I started with this piece a long time ago. I hired my first employee, and within a few years, we're up to 24, 25 employees at this point, right? It all comes from leverage, and it all comes from teaching them how to leverage themselves so that they can hire effectively and successfully, so they can get to the next level as well, right? This piece also, great because this is how we find our unique ability. Teaching your team how to find their unique ability, one of the greatest freedoms that you can actually create for them, and the benefits and effectiveness for their team and for your overall team, is to help them find their own unique ability. Folks, if you're hiring people for a certain position and they're good at it, that's one thing. But to make them actually great at it is to help them find their unique ability within their position. Once they're in their position, it's wonderful. But the only way to get them better and better and better until they can actually fire themselves is to make sure they're 100% within their unique ability the whole time. So how do they do that? Is to take this exercise. Because what happens in that seat is that they stay in that seat and then they start to find things that take them out of that seat over time. So this exercise is great, like I said, for every employee, at least every 6 months, if not every year, to make sure that they're staying in their unique ability and they're not finding different ways to get them, outside of their unique ability. Start growing, outside of what they're good at, right? Keep them effective, keep them efficient. It's also going to keep them happy. It's also going to keep them feeling good within the culture and within the team. So it's a great exercise for that as well. And bottom line is, you can't scale without hiring. You can't scale without growth. And you're not going to be able to scale yourself out of your own business unless you do this. So, listen guys, I appreciate you joining. I hope this added tremendous value to you. The only thing I ask is if you're watching the video, you thought this was good, and you share it with somebody else, that's all I ask. Share it with 2 people if you thought it was really good. Make sure you subscribe to the the iTunes channel. Make sure you leave us a 5-star review. If you leave us a 5-star review and you comment and tell us why, make sure you put in this comments underneath it wherever you're watching right now, 5-star review, and we'll send you something cool. All right, I appreciate it. We'll check you guys out next week.